is not necessarily those of the Emily Pearl Show, its sister stations, its affiliates, or its sponsors, but it is those of the individuals themselves who express it. While the Emily Pearl Show does take sponsors,
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Pearl's Politics. As you can see, it's more like pajama politics tonight. All right, hello Mary, Ernestine, Sandra, all of the top fans of our shows, all of our shows. Thank y'all so much for joining in. Not gonna keep y'all long. Updates. Well, I'm kind of I don't know, dizzy. Yeah, from sinus, from the polluted air that's covering the nation. What do y'all think about that? What is going on? Hi, Kathy. What in the world is going on? How in the world does 160 fires get started at the same time, y'all? There's something fishy about that. Did the aliens do it? Did our foreign enemies do it? Did somebody drop something down from the sky? What in the world is going on for it to spread like this, all over the nation? That's peculiar. I think that most of the news anchors are reporting that nothing like this has happened since like the 1930s or something. So, yeah, it makes you wonder, right? And I did have to go out today. I had to take Tim to his back appointment. He got his treatments. So he has a little soreness and a little swelling. And so that's why he's not in the studio with me tonight. And so I think going out there in that air just kind of got all up in my nose. I wore a mask. I wore a mask, but I guess it didn't help. And so what I'm going to do after the show is I'm going to do my nasal spray. I don't have any sinus tabs or anything like that. Well, I think I might have some. I might take one. Come and think of it. Is anybody else having trouble with the air quality? Type in and let me know, okay? So tonight we got three main subjects I'm going to be talking to you about. That is, AI is taking your job. You ask me, AI, what is that? Well, it's artificial intelligence. And topic 2, why do we have student loan debt in the first place? Can somebody tell me about that? I'm going to tell you why we shouldn't have it in the first place. And as far as our candidates for our upcoming presidency elections, we got a lot of candidates running, but is it possible that we would have a third party? We got Democratic Party, we got Republican Party, an independent party, but I think that there might be some other party coming in. I wonder what they will name it if it does. So that's what we're going to be talking about briefly tonight. And then I'm going to let y'all go. And I want y'all to type in and put in y'all opinions and comments and help me out on this, okay? All right, stick and stay. Please share the show. Don't go away. And I'll be back.
daydreamer.
All right, I am back. I'm gonna have to get me some of those socks because when I was out this morning at the place Baptist where Tim went, boy, it was so cold in there. I wore a long sleeve shirt, but I didn't think about my feet, right? And because I had an open toe and open heel sandals. Man, y'all, my toes got so cold I had to pull out my plastic gloves and slide my feet into some into some plastic disposable gloves and put my shoe back on. I mean, that was really funny. You talking about a sitcom that would go right great in a sitcom. All right, Ernestine says hello, everyone. Mary says hello, hi, everyone. And I said hello to Mary. And Sassy says, yeah, something very fishy about that pollution being all over from Canada to the nation. I'm going to have to text our fan and friend from Canada, Paul from Canada, and see what he knows about it. And maybe he can give us an insider view because he's right there in the thick of it. I'm pretty sure, because if it's coming all down here, he's got to be in the thick of it, right? So we'll see what we can find out from Paul. I'll give y'all an update on tomorrow night's show, which is Emily Pearl's show. We're going to have a special guest on, a songwriter and singer. His name is Glenn Bailey. There we go. Glenn Bailey. I keep associating his name to help me remember it. I do name association. I associate his name with Pearl Bailey. A lot of y'all don't remember her, but she was an African American famous singer back in the 30s and 40s, and I imagine maybe late 20s, And she out there. I don't know if this was her husband's name, but she had this song. Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home? And her name is Pearl. Her name was Pearl Bailey. Yeah, I used to listen to her music. I think my aunt actually named my cousin after her because my first cousin's name is Pearl. Anyhow, let's get to AI, artificial intelligence. Y'all, I tell you, it's taking your jobs. Y'all hear about the layoffs that's going on everywhere, right? Well, that's because they can use artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is a bunch of computers talking to each other. Simple as that. Hundreds of thousands of computers all over the world communicating and talking with each other, organizing, lining up, planning, executing. And so you can get artificial intelligence, companies can get artificial intelligence to do the job that a human used to do, right? So how are we going to combat with that? Anybody got any ideas before I can tell you what people are going to have to do? But I'll start off with knowing how to read. We have a big, huge literacy problem in the United States. That's right. The smartest country in the whole wide world to me is South Korea. And the reason I know that is because I taught students and adults online. And they are really, in China, I have to include them, even though they might be our foreign enemy. Those are smart people. They take education like a religion. I mean, seriously, they do education like, shoot, 8 hours a day, like it's a job, right? And they are power hungry, knowledge, just hungry for knowledge. Whereas versus us over here in the United States, we got half of our population don't want to know anything simply because they cannot read. They are illiterate. And then and coupled with that is that they can't write. So because if you cannot read, how can you write, right? But anyhow, this is what's going to happen. Our whole education system has got to change in the United States since AI is taking over. We got to start going back. And I think that this was President Trump that said this when he first got into office. We've got to start back to teaching children in school how to do trades, how to learn a skill, right? Simply because those that are failing in reading and writing and arithmetic, they are not going to be college material. And you can find that out by third grade, for real. So what you do is you start gearing that child towards learning a skill. Because why? You're going to always have air conditioners and home appliances that have to be repaired. You're going to always have cars that have to be repaired. So things always have to be painted. Things always have to be built, right? So you got to retrain our students. We're teaching them the wrong things in education. You got to have a dual education system. You got to have the academic education for those who can actually do it. But then you also have to double that with trade education for those that can't do academically. Seriously. And that is the way that other countries do the education system, which is why they are so much more successful than the United States. I knew that this day would come because I started learning how to do data myself and taught myself in the year of 2000. And here it is 23 years later. I knew it was coming. In the year 2000, I taught myself how to build websites. And it wasn't just instantly like now you can just actually go and select what template you want, your colors, and just type in stuff. No, I had to build it from scratch, which means I had to learn how to read and dictate and decipher HTML. HTML is a computer code program, all right? Thank God I don't have to do that anymore. That was hard. But it was challenging in learning it. And then when I did learn it, I felt so really great about myself, because I was able to do something in 2000 that people around me did not have a clue about how to do, right? Knowledge is power, and also knowledge is money. I don't know how to fix an air conditioner, but for somebody that knows how to fix one, that's what? Knowledge and money. Can I get some amens in the comment column, right? Yeah, I know how to paint, but I'm able to paint now because of my medical condition. So that means what? I got to pay somebody to come in and paint my outside or my interior. And to somebody that knows how to paint, that's what? That's knowledge and power and money for them, right? So that's the reason why we got to change our educational system. And I'm so happy that Donald Trump had mentioned that because he was trying to do that. And then, of course, the round table geared him away from that. And, of course, the public did. But he knew what was coming. And now it's here. And now people are getting laid off from their jobs. They have no skills and they cannot operate AI. To operate AI, you got to know how to read. You got to know how to write. Well, not just good, but well, extremely well. You got to know how to spell extremely well. And we just don't have that. A huge percentage of people that could do that. in the United States, especially not students. So that's why AI is taking over the jobs. It's because it's cheaper, it's smarter, uh-huh, for companies. And this is what they're doing. And we can what? Can we get mad at them about it? Nah. I'm not mad at them about it because what? They have the knowledge to put this, to implement these systems, and so that gives them power. They have the knowledge to implement these systems. So what? That saves them money, and they get to keep what? More money, right? Yeah. So let's take a little break. When I come back, let's talk about student loan debt. Do any of y'all out there owe student loan debt? Because it's on pause right now, but it's supposed to end at the end of July. So type in whether you know somebody that's got student loan debts, some of your children, grandchildren, or yourself. Let me know. And we're going to talk about that too in comparison with other companies. I mean, other countries. Okay. Hey, thanks for sticking and staying with me. You're watching Pearls Politics on this Thursday night. All right. All right, let's talk about student loan debt. Okay, we got a reply from one of our viewers. Let me get the chat room up so I can put it on the screen. Ernestine says that her daughter has student loan debt. And she says the student loan that she had, they took her whole income tax check years ago. You are right. You are so right, Ernestine. And this is what this should never, ever, ever have happened, because America calls themselves a free country. Education should be free. If you have the right to education, then it is a benefit. And if you have a benefit, that means you don't pay for it. So the United States of America has been cheating people out of their money all of these years for college. These institutions are supposed to be paid by the government. They only have been giving it in the form of a student loan when it was really supposed to be free from the government. Ask me how I know. Because China provides for their students. They pay for their education. South Korea pays for their education, pays for their tutoring. How do I know? Because, like I say, I taught adults and students online as tutoring and as a teacher. And the country pays for the adults to learn English. Okay? So here's the thing, in the United States, right now we got a situation going on where third graders are going to have to receive tutoring. All right. Question is it going to be free or will the parents have to fork over the money for it? It should be free. Education in the United States should have been free all of the years that they have been charging for education. There should not be any student loan debt. Student loans should never have existed, and there never should have been any debt owed to education because they say that in the Constitution you have a right to it, or the Bill of Rights. You have a right to education. Uh, Brown versus, well, I forget the other part, but that was brought to court because of a civil rights suit, whereas the African American was allowed to attend a all Caucasian school. But at that time, it was still supposed to be free. The case was won and by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court knew back then that education was supposed to be free. Not only that, you did have the right to go to any school that you wanted to go to, right? So that the government pays for free public school, right? So if they pay for free public school, doesn't it make sense that they are supposed to be paying for college too? They are. Otherwise, they'd be charging for public school if it wasn't the law. But it is the law, but that has never, ever been implemented. And whoever gets to be president for this coming presidency should zero in on that. All student loan debt, should be erased because what? It was obtained fraudulently in the first place. College education is supposed to be free, just like public education. All right. I just had to get that in. So right now, Biden has put the uh, student loan, he wants to wipe out some of the student loan debt, and he's put it on hold. Also, it has been gone to the Supreme Court has to make a decision. Hi, Doug. The Supreme Court has to make a decision on it. And so if anybody's listening, I hope Supreme Court is. And, we can't enforce their decision. But if they do what's right, then that would be to wipe out student debt. That's what they should do. Because education is, if you have the right to education, then it is considered a benefit. It's just like anything else. When you have the government says that you have a right to your Social Security, right? Your Social Security is a benefit. So if you have the right to education, your education is benefit, which means you don't have to pay for it, right? So, it's just plain common sense. And so it should be a multi-class action lawsuit brought against the government for people that do have student loan. They should bind together and make the claim what I just stated, that if you have a right, according to the Constitution and Bill of Rights, to receive education, then it is a benefit that's embedded into the law. And if it is a benefit that is embedded into the law, then you do not have to pay for it. You do not have to put up any equity from yourself, from anybody else, to pay for your education. So it's as simple as that. All right. I'm going to take one more little break. When I come back, look, we're going to talk about this third party that might be coming into existence because of Senator Joe Manchin, who is a Democrat. Is he? All right, on the comment, Ernestine said yes, because a lot of people are struggling with student debt. Yeah, and it's like grandparents who help their grandkids, they got a fork and for having to fork over money, because what? It should have been free in the first place. Because they signed for the student loan for their grandkids or their great grandkids. And now they are left with having to be stuck with it and struggling with it, like Ernestine says. So if the Supreme Court does what it's supposed to do, it should go in the favor of President Biden's pause and wipeout. They should have an entire. There's this show that used to come on. I love. Some of you might remember. It was a competition game show called Wipeout, and I think it came from Korea or China, but it was really good. I used to love that game show called Wipeout. But yeah, the Supreme Court should wipe out student debt, all of it. That's my opinion. Pearl's Politics. You're watching me. I'll be back. Stay tuned, okay? Don't go away. Stick and stay and share the show.
What am I gonna get? Ooh, cherries. Oh, okay. How about cherry ice cream? With sprinkles? And maybe a baguette. And a French boy. Bonjour. Ooh la la, baby. You know what I need? Bath bombs. Bombs away! Gotta have Takis. Oh, I need balls. Okay, I'm gonna need some glue. Oh, and a new charger. I can never find those things. And I gotta get flowers for mommy. And a little something for me. Can I get a robe?
Yeah, I know that's right. Can I get a round? Okay, when it comes to the world of politics that we're living in on this year of 2023, where Republicans and Democrats can't seem to agree on anything on the Hill, Joe Manchin is like the 13th juror. What is the 13th juror, Pearls? Well, did y'all know that the 13th juror, they always have 12 jurors to a jury, right? But there's a thing that's called, a rule that's called a 13th juror. Does anybody know who the 13th juror is? Huh? Does anybody know? Type that in for me. Doug, I know you know. So Joe Manchin is like the 13th juror when the Republicans and Democrats are battling across the aisle, right? And it is really peculiar how he has changed his stance within the last 6 months. I listened to him on Fox News Sunday as well as Meet the Press on Sunday. And what happened was that he pulled in the Democrats to agree with the Republicans on the debt ceiling. The Republicans are calling it a win, and the Democrats are not so happy about it. But Joe Manchin was the one that pulled this thing together and worked willingly with Senator McCarthy, right? Oh, well, the chair. He's the chair, House Speaker now, Senator McCarthy. So I guess you could address him as Speaker McCarthy. No more Senator, huh? So anyhow, what I noticed from his conversation, without saying it word for word, is that when he disagrees with the Republicans as well as disagree with the Democrats, he agrees with the Democrats as well as agrees with the Republicans. You see what I'm saying? He agrees with the Republicans and Democrats at times. He disagrees with the Republicans and Democrats at times. So the question was put to him, was he considering a run about the third party? Because he repeatedly kept saying that the people of the United States are looking for a president that is in the middle, which is moderate. Not too far left, not too far right. And he's saying that Biden is too far left. And he said that Trump is too far right, as well as DeSantis. So the question was put to him was whether he was considering putting his name in the hat for a bid for the presidency. He would not answer it. But what he did say was he doesn't rule anything out. And usually when politicians make that statement that they're not going to rule anything out, it means that they're thinking about running. Seriously. Okay, so nobody knew what the 13th juror was. Okay, so there's this rule in all court law. It doesn't matter whether it's city, county, federal, state. There's a 13th juror rule. And the 13th juror is the judge. Whoever the judge is presiding over this, the case that's being heard. And so what that means is that depending on what type of case it is, and the jury has a 6-6 vote, which they call a hung jury, the judge can either throw the case out, or the judge can vote and vote either way. But that doesn't happen often. And why? It doesn't happen often because the judge don't want these people coming after them. Can you imagine? I don't think I would hardly do that either. So it doesn't happen much, but it is a rule there just for that. And so therefore, Joe Manchin is like that 13th juror. So in this particular case, on getting that debt ceiling deal closed and signed and sealed, Joe Manchin was the 13th juror. And everybody got their checks, because I told y'all last week, didn't I? I said, don't worry. Y'all will get your veteran checks, your Social Security checks, simply because they put this money is allocated 30 days prior to it going out for every month. Okay. So like if they had not reached the debt ceiling agreement, then the only month that would have been in jeopardy would have been the month of July. That's where the jeopardy would have started, because the money for the Social Security checks and the veterans checks were already allocated in the month of May. All right. And then here's the other thing. Did y'all know this? Everything else in most companies begin their fiscal year, what you call a fiscal year is your financial year, with the very first month of January, right? Well, the government doesn't do that. The federal government, I'm talking about. I don't know about these other ones, but the federal government starts its fiscal year with July 1st. That's the reason why all of this hullabaloo was going on about we got to get the debt ceiling done. We got to have an agreement, because they had to have an agreement in place before the end of this month, because the new budget year for their budget for the United States begins on July the 1st of every year. And that has been the law for a lot of years. Shoot, I think it was that when I was working for the government, and I started working for the federal government in 1971. So, hey, that's how I know that. All right. All right, y'all. It's been fun. I'm going to give y'all a lot of info that you didn't know. Always remember that free thought is a philosophy. Don't let nobody lead you down a rabbit hole. Simply because you got a brain and you need to think for yourself. Because if somebody tell you jump off the bridge just because they think it's a good idea, you're not going to do that. You know why? Because you're thinking for yourself, right? And no, that's not a smart thing to do. So when it comes to politics and anything else in your life, you remember free thought is a philosophy, not a policy. You have the right to think for yourself. Nobody can make you do anything that you do not want to do. So make smart choices. All right. Use your free thought to make your decisions, and it will keep you in peace always. All right. That's my time. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night with our special guest, Glenn Bailey. You don't want to miss it. All of the team will be here, hopefully. And we'll see y'all then. Good night.